Hi everybody and welcome to Walker's Guide. Today we're starting our walk in Beeleigh and we're going to be returning here on our way back. As usual, this is a circular walk. Beeleigh has several things going for it. It's got the falls, it's got a mill and it's even got an abbey. We're going to visit each of those as the walk progresses. The walk starts here, next to the bridge at Beeleigh, which is right next door to the Maldon Golf Club. To access it, you take a small private road off of the A1019 next to the Museum of Power. Drive down, there's a small car park. So from the car park, head north, taking the footpath that runs parallel-ish to the road you drove in on. This is a shorter, more sedate little walk than some of our others. About 4 miles through the sedate countryside around Maldon. We'll even walk through the town. Maybe there'll be an option to buy an ice cream. So on the walk you're going to see some animals. At the moment, just outside the Museum of Power, as we're walking down the footpath, cows are happily grazing on the riverside, and there's a large section of meadow left available for the insects. Dog roses on the side of the footpath with their natural smells, lovely big open flowers for the bees and pollinators to get into. As you head between the bushes and the hedges, mind out at the moment there's some low-lying ashes. Just start getting ready because we're going to be out on the road soon. As you walk up the end of the driveway, you appear up on the A1019 Maldon Road, or Road to Maldon, and we're going to turn right and walk along the footpath up towards the small church. As you walk along the road towards the church, you'll see the Langford Mill, which is, as the name suggests, an old mill. And you can see that it was built in 1879. There's a little nameplate at the top. Would have housed quite a few millstones. Alternatively, it could have been a washing mill. Most likely, it would have been for grain or animal feed. When you get down to the Millhouse Hotel, cross the road, enter into the churchyard by the 40-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. This is quite an interesting little church. It's got sections of it that go back an awfully long way, 12th, 13th century, and there's even a piece of the original wall that's visible, that's at Norman from the original masonry. After a little walk through a churchyard, it's back out onto the road. So we go out the gate and we're going to look to our left, which is the direction we're going to walk. It's a short walk up the road to the next turning. About a half-mile section on road opposite a large red brick house at Langford Hall. We're going to turn right and walk away from the road. At the moment we've got fields of sheep enjoying their dinner or lunch or breakfast. I don't think sheep eat to a particular schedule. Past the fields on the left and right. Obviously, be respectful, it's a private driveway. Be aware when the tractor does go past, the dust off the track can linger for a minute. As you look at the reservoir, look at the insects and the animals, and especially the geese. If you're here at the right time of year, you might even see Egyptian geese on the lake. They're identifiable by having a whitish head with a black sort of mark around their eye. From this distance, I'd say it's probably an oak. It's been dead about 100 years, maybe 120, maybe 150. It's about 300 when it died. When you go past a reservoir, the footpath's been re-planned by the farmer without notification at this end. Stay next to the reservoir, follow it down across the field. We're filming this in mid-June when the wheat is just starting to grow, get taller, really become quite visible, and will soon start turning yellow and becoming that lovely golden affair that we love to see. Golden field that we love to see. It's actually barley, I think, not wheat, but never mind. Always reminds me in that song by Sting, when the west wind blows across the fields of barley, fields of gold. Interestingly, in this field we've got oats from previous crop, we got some wheat and we got barley. As you come to the end of the field, you'll find yourself back on the road to Maldon. Look right, the farmer's left a nice clear path that you can walk along instead of walking on the road. When you've walked down to the end of that, you'll see a small gate or fence with Langford above it, and this is where you cross over the road to go down the next section of footpath. Be careful crossing this road, it's fast, it's busy. Once you come off the road into a small meadow, follow the arrow towards the second electricity pylon that you can see. That's where the footpath continues. You'll see a wooden gate and a culvert to your left. This is the disused railway. This was the Maldon line, obviously trains went into Maldon, and were got rid of in the 1960s by the beaching cuts. So Maldon is no longer served by a railway service. Now it has a good footpath, but we're not walking down it now, we're walking across. As you cross the second meadow, you end up on the edge of Elms Farm Park. This is a Maldon District Council country park. It's only little. It has got a sort of car park, but it's only a little place to come, relax, walk the dog and enjoy some time in nature. Some of the trees in it are absolutely beautiful. There's a lovely big oak just as you enter. Quercus robur, the English oak, between 300 and 500 years old, pollarded at some point, which means it was cut off at the top, and the timber was used for another project, for building, for charcoal making, for burning. We'll visit these sort of trees on our walker's guide to the trees you might see in Essex in the future. As you walk down the path through Elms Farm Park, just look at the trees, look at the leaves, and just enjoy being in nature. It's lovely. On a hot day like today, we're talking 25, 26 degrees. It's lovely and shady, lovely and cool, and the wind is just catching it perfectly. This oak is an absolute beauty. This is Quercus robur. This is the English oak, the common oak. Some people say European oak, whatever. It's an absolute stunning example. This is also a pollarded tree. So that's where the trees cut off at what used to be said man and axe, so 7, 8 foot high, will be cut off, and all the risings, all the top 10 will be used for fires, for charcoal making, for house building. You'd use it for anything you needed oak for, but you'd leave the trunk in place because over the next 25, 50 years, the top will regrow and give you a new canopy that you could then cut back again. Pollarding is truly, truly ancient. It's known to be done in Neolithic times. However, this tree was probably 500 to 700 years old. It's always hard to tell with a pollarded tree because rather than put their energy into growing tall or growing fat, once you cut the top off, they put their energy into regrowing upward. So the only way to actually confirm exactly how old it is would be to either do dendrochronology, which is where you cut a core out, you count the number of rings in that core, but you look at the spaces between the rings and compare them to other trees, and it gives you an idea of when that period was, or to count the rings in the middle. The problem with that is trees generally rot away from the middle, and so you lose a lot of the inner rings. But it's a beautiful example with a nice little bird box up the top. Wonderful. Look at those wild roses. So the thing about wild roses, or what we call dog roses, I say wild, they couldn't be just multiple generations of an escaped rose. They're very open flowers, so it's very easy for bees to get in. Modern garden varieties are quite a closed flower, so bees can't get into them as easy. They also generally, the wild rose has quite a strong fragrance, because the fragrance pulls in other insects. Indeed, people say about the bee being a major pollinator, and it is. Right enough, it is a major pollinator. But so is the hoverfly. It's just not cute like the bee. There's not just honeybees, there's bumblebees. There's like 27 varieties of bumblebee. So sort of think about the other insects that we see. So as you get towards the end of Elms Farm Park, you're going to find a crossroads. There'll be a footpath sign that says Beeleigh Falls. Follow it. You're going up and over the bridge, across the water. You're actually now walking over a towpath on Langford Cut. This was part of the canal system that allowed canal boats to enter Maldon. We see a sign in front of us that says to Beeleigh Falls, and we ignore it. We're turning left and walking with Beeleigh Falls behind us. It just adds a bit more interest to the walk and gives a bit of distance. Also means we get to visit Beeleigh Abbey. Ponder along the riverside, it's lovely, and look at some of the plants and flowers and the cyclists coming by. As you walk along the path, remember that it's shared use, there are cyclists using it as well. And if they're coming by, just stand out the way, let them pass and then carry on at your own pace. Part of the reason this route was designed is so we haven't got to go over the road because it's not a very nice road. Be careful, if you're over 6'8", remember to duck under the road bridge. Otherwise, well, the second time you'll definitely remember. After the road bridge, stay with the river on your left for about another half mile-ish. The river becomes more placid here, more river-like. Just remember, be careful, especially in the winter or if you've got little ones with you, because the edge of the footpath is quite close to the edge of the cut and you really don't want to fall in. At this point, there is an option to pop to a local supermarket. The footpath is literally next door. It's a hot day, mid-June, so me and Martin doing exactly that. We're going to go and grab ourselves an ice cream. If, like us, you popped in the supermarket, just retrace your steps back to the footbridge and then cross under it. If you're not going to the supermarket, turn right just before the bridge that crosses the water. So you've gone under the major road, and before you get to the next bridge, there's a small footpath to the right that ducks down into the willows, into the meadow and across a small concrete bridge. Our word of the walk is going to be sward. It's a lovely word. It just means the length of grass. It's that high bit of grass. So you can say the sward of the grass is mighty high. Or you can say they've got long grass, but I think the sward of the grass is mighty high. Just sounds better. Once you get to the top of the footpath, you can see the supermarket and you can see the river. So you've got the cutting behind us and then the river in front of us. And the river here is tidal. During the day, obviously, the tide goes out and comes in and the height of the river will change. From here, we're walking a bit further into Maldon proper, but only so we can cross the road and come back on the other side. Walk along the side of the supermarket towards the building in front of you with a yellow roof and black sides. This section is tidal, so the height of the river changes through the day. And so does what you can see. Sometimes, like now, you see lots of grass. Other times, you might just see a lot of water. When you get to the small pub, walk round Bridge Court. So once you've walked around the buildings, crossed over the bridge and walked back down the opposite side to where we've just been. We're going to go and visit in a short while a mill. The whole point of mills is to make crops into an edible. And they could come down the river here and be loaded onto ships to go into larger ports. So it might go from Maldon onto a big ship at Tilbury and then off across the world. It might, by the same token, go from Maldon down to London and be made into bread, cakes, all sorts. But Maldon was one of Essex's main ports. For now, the footpath's easy to follow. It's lovely, it's next to the river again. You can actually see where we've just been walking on the opposite side. So from opposite the sorting office, you get a lovely view from the modern supermarket over to the more industrial heritage of Maldon. After walking up between the house and the hedge, turn right onto the driveway. So if you're out doing the walk and you happen to pop by and they're open, Maldon Smokehouse might be a good place to stop for a snack or a bite to eat or a drink. Not affiliated, but we think it's an interesting little spot. When you get to the end of the driveway, go through a kissing gate into the field with the sign horses on it. Please make sure you shut the gate firmly behind you. No one wants a horse escaping. When you get across the meadow, keep walking. You'll keep coming across little paths that dart left and right. But stay with the main path. Go past a pond and under a plum tree. After you walk through the small gap in the fence, there's a path left and right head on straight. Keep the river to your right. If it ends up on your left, you're going the wrong way. When you get to the edge of woodland, really close to the road, you've got a path that goes left and you've got a path that goes right. Left goes up over to the road, right goes down to the river. We're going down to the river. After walking under the major road, continue down the rather well-surfaced footpath alongside the river. We're not actually going to recross a road again, except for a short section we have to walk on the road by the Abbey. You cross a little bridge, there's a bit of water underneath it. Have a look, it's wet. It's worth noting that in the winter, this path through the woodland after the bridges can get quite wet. It may be one to pass if it's been raining heavily. This is Beeleigh Abbey, one of the reasons for today's walk. And the interesting thing about this abbey is it's got a really long history. It goes back to the 1100s when it was set up by the Wright friars, so nicknamed because of the white robes they wore. Fast forward in a few centuries, dissolutions of the monasteries came along and it was taken off of them. Fast forward a few more years and it was owned by Sir John Gate. Sir John Gate is an interesting character because he's actually said to haunt the abbey. The story goes that he was a supporter of Lady Jane Grey, who was a 9-day queen. She was installed but never crowned, as she was chosen by Edward VI to be his successor because he didn't want his sister Mary, who was a Catholic, sitting on the throne. Sir John, who lived here, was part of the royal household, and he actually took the troops of the royal household to fight against Queen Mary, or Queen Mary as she had become. Unfortunately, he failed to capture her and instead himself was captured, and on the 22nd of August 1553 was executed. Now, it's said that on August 22nd he'll be sighted in the bedroom that he stayed in, and his body's shape will take place in the bed. It will be like someone has slept in the bed the night before. Beeleigh Abbey is closed to the public, however they do have open days where you can come and visit the 3 acres of gardens that all goes towards the National Garden Scheme, and I think if I get a chance I'll be popping along to visit too. And who knows, if you come on the right time there's a chance that possibly you could actually see Sir John. After walking past the Abbey, carry on down the driveway up until the road. As you walk out of the driveway and turn right and carry on that little road, you will see a footpath sign to your left about halfway up. Ignore that footpath, carry on along the road up to the mill. The building to my left is Beeleigh Mill, and that's a steam mill, the remaining steam mill. Prior to 1875, there was also a water mill, but that burnt down. This site has had, or this area has had, a mill in existence since about the 6th century. And a mill fairly close to here was noted in the Domesday Book. We were lucky enough to actually have just been given a guided tour, and hopefully some footage will now follow of that tour around the building. If you want to come and visit, it is open for special open days in September and May. Have a look on the Beeleigh Steam Mill website, the link's in the description box below, and see what we could see inside. After leaving the mill, walk through the Kissing Gate towards Beeleigh Falls. Follow down this path to the end where you'll come across a nice wooden bridge. It can be quite windy, so if like me you like to wear a hat, hold on to it because it could get blown off. And take a moment just to look around, see the ducks, the little stones where the water's babbling through. It's quite nice and peaceful here. And then once you've finished that, walk down off the bridge and follow the footpath dead ahead of you. As you come round the corner, you'll be walking on the side of the canal, and you just need to follow that towards Beeleigh Falls. Beeleigh Falls is an interesting little place. It's actually where the Blackwater and the Chelmer meet, but it's also where the Chelmer is tidal up to this point. Beeleigh Falls, although people say it's a waterfall, it's actually a man-made weir. It's just to control water. It's got a lot of wildlife that use it, however, ducks, swans, and there's some beautiful little cygnets, but it's quite an interesting little site. From here, once you've had a look around, and now and again you'll see boats going down navigation, walk up to the Red Bridge, which is where we started our walk. So that about wraps it up for today's walk. We've seen some brilliant sights in Maldon and the Beeleigh, and all I can say is please come have a look for yourself. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and join us again next time on The Walker's Guide. And it's mill. And it's noisy birdlife, quite clearly. When sniffing a flower, always make sure there's not a bee inside, because a stung nose hurts mightily.